Man, oh man, we are back. And we're Toad's back, and we're in. Oh my god! What a fucking badass!
With a gun.
With a gun surrounded by blood. But look how green he is. He looks like he's gonna die.
Yeah.
You got a bandage you can throw?
Well, he's got a bandage. You just try to slap him awake.
There he goes. I think he hurts me.
Does he backhand you?
Mad at you?
Yeah, he didn't say anything, but I'm genuinely a little scared of him. So
You should be. Man, that's so much fucking blood. I mean, it's just.
I would say it's not enough blood.
I would add about 10 more buckets of blood in there.
At least 10 more.
I would just have Raiden completely drenched in blood all the time.
That's
bare ass naked.
That's your fetish.
I'd say that Vamp was very wasteful.
Yeah.
What he is.
Right.
Pum, pum, pum.
What the shit is that?
You know, I actually forgot to mention my first experience with the switch around with Raiden was actually my second experience with Metal Gear altogether. My first experience was watching someone play the demo in Shadow Moses. So walking around with the searchlights and, you know, security camera or surveillance camera. That was my first experience. My second experience was going over to, I think, my cousin's house. And they were like, oh, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 2. And I was like, okay, whatever that is. And it was Raiden running around and on the struts. Yeah. And I was like, this is so completely different from what I knew.
This is not what I expected.
Exactly. And I was just like, this series is so fucking weird. And to be honest, it was a little off-putting.
Yeah.
I was just like, it's too much. Yeah, it's too much for me right now. I'm like playing these other games. I don't even know what they were. They probably sucked.
I could see that.
Yeah, but it was just really like, what the fuck is going on now? And then I came back later and was watching another part, and guess what part it was? It was Raiden, very vulnerable. Very vulnerable in a very vulnerable situation, running and flipping around, and I was just like, all right, I'm out.
You're like, what the shit?
No, to be fair, I was kind of like, that's kind of interesting. That is kind of interesting. It's kind of like, it's really weird, but I'm at the very least I'm intrigued because who does that? And Josh, you're a fan of Fortune?
I think she's
she's
weirdly cool. I don't know.
I feel like.
Definitely not like one of my favorite characters, but she's
probably the strongest of the Foxhound members in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's the one that stands out. I feel like her story doesn't really add up. And I also think it's weird with, like, I think at some point she was supposed to be an albino. Like, her character, all of the Foxhound members have gone so many character redesigns and things that it's like, they're kind of a mishmash. One of the things that I think is hilarious, though, is that in the design document, it actually says that Fortune, what she does in her free time or her hobby is that she plays the saxophone.
What?
So if you notice, every time she walks out, she has this very like jazzy saxophone.
She does have her own music.
Yeah, she has the sax. It's supposed to be originally that this part right here, she was supposed to walk out with the saxophone.
What?
No.
Yes.
That would have been so cool.
Yes.
You're insane if you think that's going to be cool.
So every time
the weirdest thing we've ever seen.
Every time you hear that saxophone music, it was supposed to be generated by her in the game.
So she's like, you hear it and you're like, oh, here she comes. She's got the sax.
Yeah, it was supposed to be that you hear the saxophone and then you know she's coming.
That's so lame.
Well, it's supposed to, I think
it would have been weird and so cool because it was weird.
Well, it's also kind of like motivated by a Lethal Weapon. You know, like they have Martin and Murtaugh and Riggs have their own like music.
Yeah.
Every time it shows Murtaugh, he has a saxophone.
You hear it and you're like, Fortune.
Yeah, exactly. Also, so that gun she's carrying is designed off of the gun from Metal Gear Rex.
It was Rex's gun, basically?
Yeah, it was built off the design document that Ocelot stole.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I always thought her gun was familiar.
Yeah, it's the railgun.
She coldly watches this guy fall.
She gives 2 fucks. She's a lot like you, Dora.
Yeah, I identify with her.
Man, that's cold-blooded. She just sat there and fucking watched. And saxophone.
That's so funny. I can't even imagine that.
Doesn't that completely
stupid.
break the mood of it?
Well, yeah, there's this juxtaposition.
The burning seagull.
There's this juxtaposition of the music with what just happened. It's all this sexy, like, smooth-sounding, like, saxophone, and she just destroyed a bridge, killed a bunch of people, and these birds are dropping dead.
She's very emo, though. She's very emo. Also, that burning seagull, was that supposed to be showing it got too close to the field? I think that's what it was.
I think it's like she's also sympathizes with animals for some reason. I don't know. Because she's like, sorry, my beauties.
Yeah, she is weirdly sympathetic.
Okay.
Yeah, is that supposed to be like the ravens? with Vulcan.
No, I think it's more like wolf.
Raven had a giant gun too.
Yeah. Well, you could say it's the same for both, Dora.
Yeah, it may not be a like. Yeah. Also, yeah, wolf. Which also,
But
that idea comes back and forth as well.
But seagulls?
Yeah, no, like the rats of the sky.
Yeah. Air rats.
Air rats.
Well, I think air rats are pigeons, but seagulls would be the sea rats.
Yeah. Seagulls are pretty gross.
They are pretty cool.
Do you understand?
Get a hold of yourself.
Time for questions.
I love how much of this game is Raiden just going, what the fuck? And then Colonel, get a hold of yourself. And then saying, get a hold of yourself.
Yeah.
Rose saying, get a hold of yourself. Raiden, get a hold of yourself. Which he does at the end of the game, in that vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
Several,
Temporarily.
Yeah.
Several times he doesn't want to do the things that Snake would be like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, Snake was really just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah,
We're doing
I need to go do this. Okay, and most of the game, Raiden gets an order or like direction to do something, and he questions it.
Yeah.
Or says, I don't want to do that, or I'm going to do this instead.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily work out for him most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You should find him there.
Is this according to
Yo, bro.
simulation two?
Got it.
What are you talking about? Get to Strut C and
Get to
find
Strut
him.
C.
Understood. But I need to ask you something.
I think that Raiden is supposed to be kind of cynical and not, and he's not, he doesn't trust anyone, which is good. But I think, again, it's a localization thing, and it's probably Quentin Flynn. He comes off more as whiny in the American version.
Oh, he absolutely does.
And I think that's part of the problem, is that he comes off, I mean, already he has a very feminine, and that's something we haven't really got into, he was very intentionally designed to be feminine. And that's what I was going to say this earlier, but we got interrupted with the whole vamp thing. When Kojima said that he was trying to appeal to a new fan base, that fan base specifically were female gamers and gay men. He has actually said that Raiden was supposed to appeal to gay men.
I think it's really interesting how early on Raiden starts believing that it's a dream. Like, it didn't take him very long.
Yeah.
It's not like you went the whole game and then, like, suddenly you...
Well, keep in mind, he was just a normal... What he believes, he's just a normal soldier who's only seen very standard stuff. And he's never experienced combat before. He's only been in VR simulations fighting genome soldiers or fucking pushovers. He just saw a vampire...
Oh, good point.
and a lady who deflected bullets.
And you're like, what the shit?
Exactly. I mean, it's understandable why it would be very surreal for him. And again, that serves many thematic purposes in the sense of how unbelievable these things are. It's supposed to reintroduce how fantastic the series is. But as I was saying...
Or the unreality of his situation.
Right. That's interesting. I like that she had an American flag.
Yeah, sweet American flag, big. See, I'm going to get one of those.
But Raiden is very sexualized because one of the things that I think, Josh, we had talked about this before, that he had heard a comment or read something in a review by a female gamer, and she said that Snake was boring because he was an old man. And so he felt really offended by that. Or
I could see that.
He took it like it got under his skin, and he was like, maybe Snake is stale. So I'm going to make a new character who's going to appeal to women. And he actually says, yeah, this is from the design document. He says, with Raiden, someone who specifically appeals to women instead of Snake, we will have a character in which women can more easily empathize. He is the antithesis of the older, hard-boiled image of Snake. Mm-hmm. And the reason why he has
green snake.
Yeah, and the reason why he has blonde hair, or it's actually supposed to be white hair. He actually, in the design document, it says it's white.
That'd be way cooler.
And it's supposed to be that he's pure. Not necessarily, Japanese have a different idea of pure. Innocent. Yeah, he's complete rookie, a completely new player. And what I was saying earlier about how Snake is very sexualized with his girder and his ass belts, and why Otacon is more attractive, as I think Kojima was very much trying to appeal to a female audience, and he thought by doing that is by making the characters more handsome, more sexual, like heightened sexuality, especially with Vamp.
Yeah.
Raiden has like childbearing hips.
Yeah, he does. He has very feminine hips.
Well, yeah, because
wide and high.
In Japan, I mean, there is a very famous sort of male. Well, there's like mangas based on it and things, but mostly rock stars. There's a very specific type of character in Japanese pop culture where it's very sexy to have a man look like a woman.
Like the host bars you see.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
the Final Fantasy character looking people.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's mostly rock stars and models, but yeah, there's a very, very strong market in Japan for men who, but not that they actually are women or that they're gay or anything like that. It's just that they're very masculine. They just look like women.
Yeah. It's very pretty.
Yeah, they're pretty. It's exactly what it is. It's an aesthetic thing. They're nice to look at.
Too many lives inside. All I lost was this leg.
Which is also interesting to talk about. Well,
Christ, a goddamn river. Who cares about your leg?
yeah, so we're basically
Dora's cold-blooded.
we're basically being introduced to fucking Danny Glover's character in fucking Lethal Weapon. I mean, come on.
true.
At every turn, this guy should just be like, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the saxophone music should be playing right fucking now. So one of the things I also want to bring up is that this guy, Peter Stillman, and Kojima has said this. There are so many things from this story or from this game that are directly based on a book called City of Glass. It's a detective novel that is very metatextual. But, I mean, Peter Stillman is the name of one of the main characters. Originally, there were 3 other characters in the game that were directly based on characters from that book that were named after him. And I just think it's interesting because City of Glass is this detective novel that kind of folds in on itself, and it really calls into the idea of trusting a narrator. It's all about the question of identity, and it's a very postmodern book where you have to question about what the character is seeing is what's really happening.
Right.
And it's all about how language shapes the way we see things, which this game is about memes and how data changes the way we see things. So that's it's a really interesting thing that this game, I mean, it's a video game, but it's based on a literary novel. And it's not like a pop culture novel. It's not like a Stephen King or John Grisham book. It's like it's like a literary heavy book. He has said that that's the biggest influence in this game was City of Glass, which is a really strange thing to pull from, especially for an action game.
Yeah.
Everything in this structure is computer controlled.
Who is that?
That flowing hair there. That looks like Hal.
Is that Otacon?
He had official orders with him.
Yeah,
He's in
his glasses.
Yeah, he's in disguise.
But there's no one left for
Flowing hair. Bobbing in the wind.
He's way more handsome in this game than he.
And even more so in
is.
4.
Oh yeah, he's like a dreamboat in 4.
Yeah. Ooh, it's Hal.
It's also interesting because the whole idea of going back to what I said before, City of Glass, is that it's actually part of a trilogy called the New York trilogy, where it's all talking about the idea of New York, how it's this kind of city built by imagination. You notice this game's all set in New York. Also, the original title of the game was Metal Gear 3, and the original title was called Metal Gear 3 because it was going to be built out of the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers were going to be the 3.
Oh, weird.
And this game came out in 2001, so you can imagine why they changed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
they removed, I think they removed some other things. Like
yeah,
assets in there that were-
towards the end, there's a lot of things that, because this all takes place in New York, so there's some landmarks and things that they had to change the imagery at the end of.
Bomb disposal training per se in VR.
It's weird to think that this game took place around that same time, though.
Yeah.
It's a very
Totally weird.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was when that all happened. And it seems I don't. This wasn't in my consciousness at the time.
Absolutely not. No.
There's no need to think about this so much. You won't actually.
I like Stillman in a weird way.
I'm gonna be completely honest when I talk about this section of the game.
Look at this.
Coming to the series fresh, not really knowing a whole lot about it. I played Metal Gear 1 with you, Dora.
Right.
And I was on board. I was like, this thing's shit. I fucking love this. And then we got to this game, and I was a little bit like, all right. I mean, it's interesting that they did the whole thing with Raiden, but I already had that spoiled for me, so I knew that was coming. And then we got to this part. The next, I don't know, going up to this boss fight, it almost broke me. I almost walked away from the fucking series because of this section coming up. It is so, and intentionally tedious. It's intentionally tedious.
Yes.
It intentionally tries your patience, and it's intentionally stupid. but not like blatant. It's not like Eddie Murphy in a fat suit farting. It's not like that stupid. But it's still like, it's just so weird that he chose to do that. I'm talking about balls. It's really just a ballsy thing to have a game that's gonna fuck with you to the point where you want to walk away from it.
Yeah.
You know, Fatman is kind of like Eddie Murphy in a fat suit.
You got a point there. I take that back. Does Fatman do a fart joke? Let's wait for that, because if Fatman does a fart joke, I'm walking.
Wow.
I'm walking. Well, I'm walking from the Fatman part, but I'll be back. Yeah.
I think me and Josh can hold the show on our own with Fatman bottle.
Yeah, I just have to sit here and make poop jokes.
That's all we know, really.
Josh is gonna make believe fart noises and try to trick me to get me to leave, because he just wants me out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole setup is just kind of weird. It's just like there's a bomb expert, and then this guy's he's his mentor, but he's gone crazy.
It's just almost like a different game. It's a different game. I mean, it seems like Lethal Weapon. It seems like Lethal Weapon or something. It's actually very similar to or Die Hard.
Yeah.
You know, something like that, like Die Hard 3. It's like the very minimal of a plot that you would have for an action movie that was just based around explosions for 3 hours.
Right. Yeah, it's just kind of silly, but I don't know. I never, honestly, as a kid, I never really thought about it. We just played it.
Yeah, there's none of this came up in my head when I was a kid.
I know, but
it's a game I play.
I know. Even when I was playing it with you, I was just like, "Yeah, I'm just doing the bomb thing," and you're like, "You're doing. How long does this fucking take?"
Well, I was like, I remember I had left
a long time, but
I left the room to get food or something. And I came back and I'm like, "So what are you doing now?" I'm like, "Oh, the bomb thing," and it's like, "You fucking kidding me? You're still doing the fucking bomb thing."
yeah.
It's
just what you do, you know?
A lot of vitriol from people, with reason, I suppose, depending.
Well, it's so tedious, especially because at this point, it's really the game is so treating you with kid gloves.
Right, it's like
It's a pretty big area, isn't it?
Solid Snake, wouldn't. You wouldn't have to do this as Solid Snake.
Yeah, it was not like he'd be. Well, I mean,
he's not going to be bothered with going to defuse a bunch of small bombs.
Right. I mean, because we're talking about our jokes from Metal Gear 1 about where Snake was just like, I don't got fucking time for this. I mean, he would just go in and just fucking shoot the bombs, let them blow up, and be done with it.
Right.
Don't they actually say over the codec that Snake has actually triggered one of the bombs? And he's like, whoops.
No, I don't think so.
I think something. We'll have to pay attention. There's something like that.
There is a something around the bombs specifically after you complete it all.
Of course. I taught him the techniques he uses.
But yeah, I could totally see why there's a lot of frustration with this specific section, because you have to go around Big Shell and
which is just scattered with guards.
Well, I think it's actually interesting
and you have to pay attention to what you're where you're looking at and where you're looking and find these things. It's like a scavenger hunt of sorts, and you're
very
this
tedious
is what
one.
I'm doing as this super awesome Foxhound agent. I'm playing sort of hide and seek with these things around a building.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Also, I should point this out now because we get a very good look at Big Shell. I think it's good to point out right now that they actually designed Big Shell and the tanker with Legos. That's how Kojima and the production team, they actually sat down at a table and built them out of Legos, and that's how they designed the levels.
Which is really cool to see, on the table in that interview, you can see the little model he has of Big Shell.
Is he one of the terrorists then?
No, somehow I don't think so. If there's someone to suspect, I'd put my money on you. Just take care of those bombs for now.
What about you? They could be back in this area soon.
I'll hide out in this pantry for a while. If I lock the door, it should be all right. Plenty of food in here too, so you don't need to worry about me. I'll give you instructions by codec from here. Good luck, kid. Bomb disposal is a face-off with your own mortality. Don't let the fear get to you. When you give in to the fear, the darkness comes.
All right, sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties with the recording, but hey, we got it fixed and we're taken care of. We didn't miss a whole lot, just kind of a boring cutscene there. But we'll pick up that conversation where we left off next time. So join us next time, and we'll see you in our Metal Gear year.
Thanks, guys.